Hello, you stinky comrades, and welcome to part 3 of Corrections from the Comments, where I realize you guys are smarter than me. And here are the reasons why, as I read people correcting me in the comment section. Here we go. Frankie Logue says, socialist and state is compatible, but not communist and state. Communism is stateless, and socialism is the transition state. Typical Lipskosh. Libertarian socialism works. Look at insert historical example. It existed for 3 years. The USSR, which lasted for 80 plus, was worse even though it made life way better for workers. ... Union Socialist, a frequent commenter, says, USSR was better than regular capitalism, but it was far from socialist, and how long it existed is not really relevant. It should be how it was while it existed, which USSR largely had some benefits, and me personally find state socialism to be contradictionary because, 1, I use the orthodox Marxist terms of socialism and communism as the same, and 2, the state is class rule. In socialism, the capitalist class cannot exist. I see the transitionary stage in 2 steps, 1 from capitalism to socialism, where upon the revolutionary victory, the power is transferred to the workers, and the second step is from socialism to free access socialism, or communism, if you like, whereof work becomes purely voluntary for everyone because the technology is advanced enough and the birthmarks of capitalism are gone. This is my interpretation of Marxism, but I won't be an anarchist and say USSR was all bad and shit. It was better than normal capitalism on several fronts, but failed at establishing socialism mostly because of the historical time period and nations it was put in. Salutes, comrade. Grayson Kilmer says, I'm not well versed in Leninism, but here are a couple of things I think you got wrong. Well, Grayson Kilmer, you're in luck because you just got on the hottest game show on the internet. Correct this moron! Yay! Let's spin the wheel, and you get your comment read. Congratulations. 1. Dictatorship of the proletariat. It's not that the bourgeoisie class would not have votes and the workers would. It's that the bourgeoisie wouldn't exist as a class anymore. Everyone would be a worker getting benefits from their actual labor and have equal rights. 2. Why would there be a ruling class? There wouldn't. Leninism is based on a classless society like any other socialist society. If there becomes a ruling class, that is a distortion of his ideas. Obviously, that has happened in the past, but it isn't what Lenin championed. Okay. Full disclosure, don't remember that video that well. Actually, to be honest, I don't remember any of them very well because it was a long time ago, so I don't recall all the dumb shit I said, but I think my confusion was that when I said why would there still be a ruling class, I meant like why would there still be a bourgeoisie if you take away the means of production, etc. from them, would they not cease to be the bourgeoisie with all of their power stripped? I don't know. Anyway, they continue. I think you mixed up a few ideas into the video. There definitely are issues with authoritarian societies of any kind, but saying that that's what all Leninists want and that they don't want an equal and classless society is unfairly smearing them. You could say you don't think it's feasible for whatever reasons, but currently you are misrepresenting their ideas and goals. I don't think that they don't want that. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I don't think that they don't want that. As I've said in other videos, I'm not I think I started out on one side and now I'm not really. I'm just kind of out there floating, picking up all the information that I can. So I don't have a real grudge against any side, and I apologize if it seems like I was or actually was misrepresenting them. Goose says, okay, please change that picture for this video. Remove the yellow on libertarian socialism in 5 minutes. You know what? I could say that I did that to purposely draw views from the other American unique kind of libertarians, and it was a whole conscious scheme to draw in views and watch time minutes, but it's just unfortunate. I had at that point a graphic designer doing the thumbnails for me that is not working with me anymore. So, but you know what? I'm gonna change that, because that is just, it's horrible, and I honestly didn't even think about that is the color of their flag. So, thanks for bringing that up. Chris Bork says, you forgot to mention the successful anti-ISIS, anti-Assad, Syria Democratic Forces / People's Protection Units, SDF, YPG, controlled territory of the entirety of North Syria, aka Java. I knew how to pronounce it at one point, I don't anymore. Where radical equality has been implemented in the areas of gender equality, complete religious liberty and ethnic equality and economic equality. And then, basically, that is probably the most suggested thing that I get on this channel, and I think it's for a good reason. And the only reason that I haven't done a thing on it yet, I just want to get the facts straight. Although I feel like it's one of those things that I'd really like to go into, because I really like kind of everything about it. I like that it is real and exists in the world right now, and it seems really positive, and I feel like I could do, I could make a whole channel about, I feel like if I really got to know about it, I would just be obsessed. So there's that. Will I do a video on it? Yeah, probably, eventually. Eleanor says, the transformation of feudal societies into socialism without a capitalist stage in between. This is grossly reductionist. The point is that global capitalism is what we have right now, in these proportions, worldwide. It is a global system. That means it is incapable of developing the means of protection in some regions, Africa, the Middle East, to anything close to what we would need for global socialism. Trotskyists are saying that in those already capitalist countries that are underdeveloped, the only thing that will result in progress is socialist revolution, because as small as the proletariat may be in a third world country, they are still objectively the sole progressive element in society, which is to say they alone can lead progress, and they can only do it in the context of the revolution spreading globally. All right, that is absolutely a fair and reasonable point. This next one is just a classic. Medgard says, is this satire? And I said, do you want it to be? And they didn't respond. So, I guess we'll never know if they wanted it to be satire or not. Elephant Warrior says, the Mensheviks showed what two-stage theory meant. When the bourgeoisie have power, sit on your ass for a few decades. Essentially, workers of the world unite tomorrow. I think that's about procrastinators. There's like a joke in there that all Trotskys, or are procrastinators, but they already have the newspaper thing. Just like you should take it easy on them. I don't know. Permanent revolution was the idea that the Russian bourgeoisie couldn't undertake the transformation of society they had in Western Europe and the US because the advanced nations controlled the international markets. Just as not everyone can be a bourgeois, not every nation can be advanced. Russia couldn't wait. Waiting wouldn't work, and the workers were already reaching for power. They would not accept anything less than a Soviet government, and for that reason, the revolution had to continue. The proletariat would have to fulfill the traditional bourgeoisie role of civilizing, industrializing, and educating the nation while still struggling to fulfill its own role. And the communist dragon says, Elephant Warrior, considering the world today, that point isn't valid anymore, in all fairness. I don't necessarily agree with having the whole world have a revolution at once, but I do think that it would be in socialists' best interest to have one in at least one, or to have one in at least one or two of the superpowers. Wait a bit, develop socialism. Okay, first of all, to have to just have a casual revolution in one of the superpowers. Super easy. Wait a bit, develop socialism. Then if socialist revolutions start taking off everywhere else, then help them. If not, try to see if one can nudge them in the right direction. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But the problem I myself find is, how long do we wait? 5 years? 10? 20? If we wait too long, the pressures from the capitalist nations may cripple the socialist one. Or if we are a Marxist-Leninist nation and wait too long, as they did, we may end up reverting to a state capitalist, or as Trotskyites say, a degenerate workers' state, as the USSR and other socialist nations unfortunately did. All right. One last one before we wrap this video up. This is from Meepma. They say, the first comment is incorrect. Trotsky, like all Marxist thinkers before him essentially, realized socialism required international revolution. He knew socialism couldn't be built in isolation in a backwards nation like Russia. However, while Trotsky recognized the need for international revolution, that doesn't make the Russian Revolution doomed. It just makes it imperative that the new worker state aids other revolutions, something Stalin did the opposite of. The problem with socialism in one country isn't that it's applying Leninism, whatever that means, to the state. It's that it tries to build socialism in isolation in a single country, which leads to social patriotism and the party bureaucracy putting itself before proletarian revolution. We see this happen with the Comintern under Stalin ordering Chinese communists to their graves in the 1920s. We see this with Stalin trying to appease imperialist powers by suppressing revolution in Spain in the 30s. We see this with Stalinists betraying a general strike in Britain during 1926. I don't know what he means by betraying a general strike. The idea that Stalin came up with the idea to develop the USSR is also absurd. Trotsky was calling for industrialization, greater central planning with workers' input, obviously, and collectivization before Stalin. When Trotsky was pointing out the need for development, Stalin was labeling him a super-industrialist and claiming socialism could be built in a single nation at a snail's pace. Some short reads for stuff mentioned here would be Trotsky's Platform of the Left Opposition, Permanent Revolution, Chapter 12, Basic Postulates, both can be found at Marxist.org. Longer reads would be Revolution and Counter-Revolution in Spain, Third International after Lenin, both are on Marxist.org. Homage to Catalonia audiobook forums exist on YouTube. PDF can be found at libcom.org. And I wanted that one to be the last one because, to let you in on a little secret, I'm doing the first 3 of these all on the same night. It's like 1 o'clock here. And so I'm just seeing some of the comments roll in, but already I can start to tell, because there's really a lively debate going on in the comment section almost at all times, and I feel like if I could capture that and not necessarily, postulate anything myself, but just to display the arguments as they're being made by other people. Of course, you can get that if you just go to a forum, but you can also get all of this if you just go to internet pages. This is why we have YouTube, because watching videos is more interesting than reading bunches and bunches of forum posts. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying. I hope you get in the comments and refute or respond to what the people in this video are saying. And I also hope that you have a lovely rest of your day.